Dominica hosts OECS, PPS and OECS Health Ministers meetings, and Mahaut MP focuses on Canefield community. Thank you for joining us on National Focus. I'm Shaakira Pierre.
And I'm Kerdisha. Stay with us for details of these and other stories after this.
Children, yell and tell. If someone tries to abuse you, tell until someone believes you and they do something about it.
For more information on child abuse or to report suspected cases on child abuse, contact the Social Welfare Division on 33 Great Marlborough Street or call 266-3020 or 266-3080.
Welcome back. Ministers of Health of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, have gathered in Dominica for two important meetings. The government of Dominica, through the Ministry of Health and Environment, is hosting the 30th OECS Pharmaceutical Procurement Service, PPS, Policy Board, and the Third Council of Health Ministers meetings at the Fortune Hotel on October 12th and 13th. The first meeting will deal with the procurement of pharmaceuticals and other medical supplies, while the second will focus on broader issues of health, including HIV/AIDS treatment, cancer management, and international health regulations. Honorable Minister for Education and Human Resource Development, Peter Seja, is currently acting Prime Minister and addressed the opening ceremony in that capacity on Wednesday.
Of course, as small island states, we continue to grapple with increasingly high health care costs, and therefore we need continuously to search for proactive strategies to address the increasing demands for funding of medical care, especially pharmaceuticals. With the increase in chronic diseases, we anticipate that these demands will accelerate. Therefore, we are duty-bound to find a quicker and more cost-effective solution.
He indicated that the Ministry of Health has made significant progress, but efforts must be redoubled to surmount other challenges. Procuring pharmaceuticals as a unit has resulted in OECS countries paying up to 3 times less for medicines. The acting Prime Minister affirmed the government's commitment to continue providing the necessary support to allow the OECS PPS to continue consistent supply of good quality drugs at modest prices. The Honorable Minister for Health, Dr. Canefield, is the incoming chairman of the Councils of Health Ministers. He says these meetings are an opportunity for the region to examine its health status and to set a clear path for years to come. Honorable Daru says that while the OECS region has a lot to celebrate as relates to health, it is mandatory that governments continue to explore better ways of addressing the health needs of the region's people.
I've always said that new state-of-the-art hospitals and increased specialized care is not going to cut it. We need to get at the stage of universal health coverage, where these gains that we've made in terms of the new infrastructure, the new specialized services, the new cancer center, has to be accessible to each and everybody, from the rural communities, from Joe Farmer to the rural communities, to Joe Minister in the capital of each of the countries.
He explained that the financial implications of the OECS procuring antiretroviral drugs for the treatment of HIV/AIDS patients, reviewing the objectives set at last year's meeting, and setting a new agenda for moving ahead will be discussed on Wednesday. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Helen Roye, calls the meeting timely and relevant for Dominica.
Small island states like Dominica are set to bear the brunt of impacts from escalating healthcare costs with economic implications. I am therefore confident that the meeting would give impetus to the ongoing process of seeking best solutions and results in positive outcomes. This high-level event will definitely provide an exclusive opportunity to take stock of the work done so far and keep the thrust towards reaching our development goals.
Director of the OECS Pharmaceutical Procurement Service, Francis Burnett, addressed the ceremony on behalf of the Director General of the OECS Commission, Dr. Didicus Jules, who will join the meetings later on Wednesday. Following the opening ceremony, GIS's Kimani Seja spoke with Burnett.
So I'm here with Mr. Francis Burnett. He is the head of the OECS Pharmaceutical Procurement Service. Mr. Burnett, thank you for joining me in this little discussion.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. I heard you made a remark this morning when you were addressing the audience, talking about the history of the PPS, how it came about, and Dominica has a very pivotal role to play in that. Can you just talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, that's a correct word, a very instrumental role.
Yes.
In 1984, your former Prime Minister, Dame Eugenia Charles, called for a donor-funded project for pharmaceuticals to reduce the costs to the citizens. And this call was made at a CARICOM Heads of Government meeting. That was in 1984. And 1 year later, the governments of the OECS signed an agreement with the USAID. USAID was the founding developmental partner to finance the project. And in 1986, the Eastern Caribbean Drug Service was formed. So today is 30 years since the establishment and the inception of the Eastern Caribbean Drug Service.
Yes.
And it was headed by a Dominican. Michelle Gregoire headed the Eastern Caribbean Drug Service from 1986 to 1993. And later on in 2000, the Director General of the OECS, Mr. Swinburne Lestrade, the Dominican national, argued to the governments that the word drug was associated with illegal substances, and therefore we should rename the ECDS to the PPS, the Procurement Service. That was very instrumental. So Dominica has been a founding member of the ECDS, and one of the key stalwarts, we had what is called a Technical Advisory Committee, and Dr. Kerdisha Etienne, Dominican born, and was Dominica representative on that committee, and she pioneered the way for essential medicines list. When we sometimes had an issue that we wanted to get regional support, I would quietly lobby Dr. Etienne before the meeting to get the support. It was an amazing journey. So Dominica has had a critical role in the development of policies for pharmaceuticals within the sub-region. So we're very grateful for this history, and it should be documented, because to move forward, we need to know where we were before. So it was a rich and successful history.
Well, that's very wonderful. And you see, today we are here back in Dominica. With our Minister for Health as the new chairman for the PPS.
That's right.
As you go into the meeting, talk to us about one of the most, what's the most important discussion that you will have in the meeting?
One of the key factors or issues for the meeting would be on financing of medicines. OECS PPS, we procure medicines for the public sector using monies from the Treasury. Now, what has happened over time is that the demand of citizens on national budgets, the demand has not kept abreast with the budgetary provisions by national governments. So, for example, what we have seen in the countries in the Eastern Caribbean is an explosion of patients with hypertension and diabetes. I mean, right now in the Eastern Caribbean countries, about say 40% of our adult population is hypertensive, and about 20% of our adult population is diabetic, and those conditions tend to occur during and diseases in crime. So, for example, diabetes, which destroys the blood vessels, diabetes causes hypertension. So 70% of patients with diabetes tend to have comorbidity of hypertension. And not only that, patients with hypertension also tend to have what we call high cholesterol. So typically, we have chronic patients, and those patients will be receiving a cocktail of medicines for hypertension, for diabetes, and for reducing lipids. That demand on the system, and most countries would place purchase orders because they have to fulfill the demand of the citizens. But the expenditure is not met by the budgetary provision, as you see.
Yes.
So what has happened there is an accrual, there's a shortfall, and it's just carried over from year to year. So it has put some pressures on the system. So it's going to be a central core discussion at our meeting. The argument is governments will find it very difficult to finance medicines from the national treasury. We need to have alternative means of financing, like yes. national health insurance, yes. whereby the working population pays for the non-working population. So yes. this is going to be a central core item for the meeting later today.
Okay, well, I wish you great success in that meeting.
Yes.
As that point is put forward.
Yes.
I hope that an amicable solution and something can really come out of this meeting
yes.
to help us get out of that,
yes.
of that challenge.
Yes, and just one item too, you mentioned about the management of HIV/AIDS.
Yes.
And in the OECS, we have about 1,200 patients with HIV/AIDS receiving antiretroviral treatment. We've done very well as worldwide. The OECS, we have excellent coverage. Persons requiring those medicines receive them, and we must congratulate all governments, including Dominica, for providing the budgetary support to purchase those medicines. And the cost has gone on remarkably. Now it costs about $145 per year per patient, and Dominica has signed on to the agreement, and I must place on record our gratitude to the government for ensuring that our patients receive continuous care.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kimani. The 2 days of meetings will conclude on Thursday.
Al Parelon has for the second time in 2 years made a record, this time as the top performing student for the Cambridge A-level examination this year. Parelon was among two others, Tiffany Johnson and Toya Vital, who performed the highest in the 2016 Cambridge A-level examination. Parelon, a former St. Mary's Academy student, majored in accounting, computer science and mathematics at the Dominica State College. Honorable Minister for Education Peter Seja congratulated the students for their success.
As Minister for Education, I am truly proud of the many successes that we have had in the recent past. These efforts, I must admit, are yielding positive results, as in the past year, we have recorded improved performances at both the Grade 6 National Assessment and the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate CSEC. These performances are indeed a clear indication that the Ministry of Education is on the right track as we provide students with the best opportunities to succeed.
Parelon, who hopes to become a system analyst, counted Monday as one of the proudest days of his life.
I invested a lot along with my support group, and that's the specific thing. The A-level support program gave us a lot of skills and a lot of methods in order for us to do what we needed to do. I'm definitely proud of myself. I'm proud for my family. My family always was there for me, always gave me the mental, the physical, the financial support. They always brought me to different heights and always told me that I could do it. I had the encouragement also from my classmates as well. Of course, Tiffany, who was in my accounting class as well. Yes. And Toya as well, who was in my math class. We all became a stronger family due to the fact that we came together as the program, the A-level program. We were like the special set of students who did more than what was really required.
Honorable Seja praised the Dominica State College and the A-level support group for their role in the success of the students.
I wish to commend the Dominica State College and the A-level instructors who played a significant role in preparing our students for success at the Cambridge A-level exams. I am heartened that we are continuing to build a tertiary institution of impressive standing that is positioning our students to access top universities around the world. I must also commend the dedication of the A-level group, support group, who have stuck with the program over the years, opening the doors for our students to access these scholarship opportunities.
Al Parilla received a grade B in mathematics and A in business, accounting, and a general paper. Tiffany Johnson sat exams in accounting, economics, business, and general paper. Torja Vital sat exams in mathematics, physics, literature, and general paper. You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
Let's have some fun, eh?
I'm not ready for your kind of fun yet.
But everybody else is doing it.
But I'm not everybody else. I'm me, and I want to do well in school.
Well, you definitely get an A for attitude.
I plan to get an A in life, and then I'll think of your kind of fun.
So what am I to do in the meantime?
You'll survive.
Say no when you're not ready. Use condoms when you are.
Thanks for staying with us. Honorable Parliamentary Representative for the Mahaut constituency, Rayburn Blackmore, wants his constituents to know that he is fully committed to the Canefield people. Honorable Blackmore made this statement during the 9th inauguration ceremony of the Canefield Urban Council. The parliamentary member revealed to residents several plans he has in store, which he will be collaborating with the Canefield Urban Council to execute. Foremost in his plans is the delivery of a much-requested tipper truck to the council.
I know you have been asking for a truck, and communications was established with me on a number of occasions by your outgoing chairman. I want to say to you, by next week Friday, that truck will be handed over to the Canefield Urban Council. I'm your servant. You have a right to vote for who you want. My obligation is to represent you all the time, my dear friends.
In January 2015, $204,000 was provided to the council for road repairs on 2nd, 9th, and 12th Streets. In December of that year, $20,000 was provided for road surfacing from the Old Mill Cultural Center to the RBC housing scheme. In February 2016, the council received $94,000 to resurface roads in Canefield East. The Honorable Parliamentary Representative spoke of more developments in that area.
Let me remind the residents of Canefield East that all the outstanding works to be done on the roads will be addressed in due time. We have done the estimate for the outstanding works to be done, that are left to be done, the works, and the estimate speaks to an amount of $277,000. The Honorable Prime Minister, with his good self and office, has always assisted us in the Mahaut constituency.
In addition to the road surfacing, the minister emphasized that a good road network is integral to the overall development of any community, Canefield being no exception. He spoke to other aspects of rehabilitation to ensure the fortitude of the road network.
I want to say further that Canefield Housing Scheme area, River Estate, Clackle Valley, were all heavily impacted by Tropical Storm Erika. There are river walls to be constructed in critical areas, including Clackle Valley, including the Canefield Housing Scheme area, especially by Mr. Blair's area, Upper River Estate, etc. And as I speak with you, the estimates and evaluations are being done in that regard.
Meanwhile, Honorable Blackmore told the council that he looks forward to working with them to clear all derelict vehicles in the community.
To clear all the old trucks, the trailers from that side. And to say further, that the Canefield Urban Council or any council in Dominica does not have the authority in law to lease or rent land to anybody else. So any lease or rental arrangement you may have entered with any individual is null and void legally.
Honorable Blackmore took the opportunity to thank the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, and the Honorable Minister for Sports, Justina Charles, for making available funds for a table tennis and basketball court in Canefield. He also reiterated the objective of the Dominica Labour Party administration to place emphasis on education. In that regard, he shared that currently 3 buses have been provided by government for over 30 high school students in the Canefield area. Currently, 2 buses each have been provided for Mahaut, Warner and Massac, and 1 each for Campbell and Desport. He cautioned the parents to avoid abuse of the bus system, while also encouraging parents to patronize the schools in the Canefield area. The Honorable Parliamentary Representative promised to continue working with the Council towards the development of Canefield.
And finally, this news time, the Honorable Minister for Education, Peter Seja, made an announcement on Tuesday that the requirements for the Island Scholar has been reviewed and will soon be changed. He made this announcement while announcing Al Parilon as the 2016 Island Scholar based on his Cambridge A-Levels examination.
I wish to advise that we have already put a mechanism in place where we have reviewed the legislation. We have taken a decision to amend the legislation, and pretty soon in the Parliament of the Commonwealth of Dominica, I will table an amendment to effect that change. And thankfully, as I said, I suspect that we have the support of the wider public on the issue.
The Honorable Minister stated that 2 years ago he made a statement that he would be amending the legislation, and he received a stiff resistance. He was heartened by the views expressed by the Island Scholar Al Parilon, who also doesn't feel that the Island Scholarship should be determined by the top performer of GCE Cambridge A-Level examinations.
I believe in the associate's degree, which is given by Dominica State College. I believe that if we want to improve our standing at the DSC, everyone should have a fair chance at the Island Scholarship in that the associate's degree program.
Representative of the A-Level support group, Henry Volney, explained that currently these requirements are unfair for the other programs.
There are 2 new programs that have since developed. When the Island Scholarship was conceptualized, there was only the GCA level. But since then, we now have the Dominica State College Associate degree. And over the past 10-15 years, we've also had the development of CAPE, which is the CXC A level, the equivalent of the CXC A level. So it means right now that by law, these 2 programs cannot compete for the Island Scholarship.
The Honorable Minister for Education stated his ministry will ensure many more Dominicans will get the opportunity to benefit from the Island Scholarship.
We will be looking at the associate degree and other programs that we deem should be included in determining that scholar, the Island Scholar.
Coming up next, your tip of the day.
There is a silent, invisible killer in our midst. A killer which largely goes unnoticed as it plies its deadly trade. Its name is second-hand tobacco smoke, which has a far greater impact on persons inhaling this poison than on smokers themselves. Second-hand tobacco smoke is especially detrimental in public places and negatively impacts our national health as well as public health expenditure. Stop this invisible killer now. Say no to second-hand tobacco smoke in public places. A public health message brought to you by the Ministry of Health and the Pan American Health Organization.
If you're someone who struggles to drink enough water on a daily basis, here are a couple of tips you could use to meet your daily quota. Use natural fruits to flavor your water like watermelon chunks, mint or orange slices. To amp up the taste even more, let it sit for a few hours in your fridge.
This tip might sound like you are cheating, but it's not. You can technically hydrate with water-rich foods like cucumbers, melons, celery, or even soup with a light broth. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm.
Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel.
Live streaming is also available on our YouTube channel 24 hours a day. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I'm Kerdisha St. Louis.
And I'm Shaakira Pierre. Thanks for watching and join us again next time on National Focus.